Good morning and welcome to another week of our journey toward debt freedom. I am just returning from Mardi Gras in New Orleans. Had a fabulous time. While I was there, some things became heavy on my heart that I felt like I needed to talk to you about. The first day I was there, here's a picture of one of the floats that I saw the first day. And after the parade was over, everyone dispersed very quickly. And this is what remained, was this debris here. This, all of the garbage and all of the debris on the floor, on the ground, I'm sorry. And you'll see probably down here at the bottom, all of the beads that remained afterwards. I was freaking out. Because I'm thinking, okay, a few minutes ago, we were all had our arms up and we're saying, me, give me some beads, give me some stuffed animals, give me some stuff. And then less than 15 minutes later, when everyone dispersed, I saw all the stuff on the ground and I was horrified. And everyone was saying, oh, don't worry about it, Sheila. They're going to come in, they're going to pick this up. It's going to be all cleaned up within an hour. And I'm thinking, well, are they going to recycle the beads? People spent money on these beads. They didn't. You'll see that they have the workers there, and they had the bobcats and the big garbage dumpsters, and everything that was on the ground went in the dumpsters. All that stuff went in the garbage. And it made me think about some of the things that I'm always talking to you about spending money on stuff. Those beads cost somebody a lot of money. That could have been a meal for somebody. That could have been a meal for a family. That could have been a mortgage payment or a car payment. And it went in the garbage. But it was stuff. Anyway, it was stuff. And people were frantic for this stuff that now is worthless. Because guess what? It's in the garbage. So today, I'm trying to get to the next screen. I want to share with you a little story of a life-changing event that happened for me. It's been probably 12 or 13 years ago now. I was going through a really, really tough time in my life, and one particular night, for whatever reason, I couldn't sleep. And for whatever reason, instead of getting up and reading a book or whatever I would do, which I didn't have an iPad at the time, so it wasn't that type of thing, I turned on the TV. And most of you that know me know that I'm not really a TV watcher unless it's like something special that you all have gotten me caught up in. But for whatever reason, this night, God had me turn on the TV. And I ended up watching this infomercial, because what else is on at 4 o'clock in the morning but infomercials. And this guy was talking about changing your mindset. And he talked about 3 different types of people. There's the poor-minded person, there's the middle-class-minded person, and there's the wealth-minded person. And so the poor-minded person gets paid, and on payday, what do? They go and they buy stuff. They get their hair done, get their nails done, buy an outfit, maybe get some jewelry, go out to eat, spend some time with their friends. And then on Monday morning, what happens? They have no money. They have nothing to show for it because they've spent it all on stuff. Nothing of value. And so then they spend the rest of that week or 2 weeks or whatever that period of time is until the next payday, waiting for the next payday so they can repeat that cycle over again. And so they're just going in a fast circle like this. They call it like the rat race, because that's what they're doing. They're just going in this circle with no ending. And so then you have the middle-minded person who gets paid on payday. And like the poor-minded person, they buy some stuff, but they also pay bills because they have some debt. Because hopefully they have some assets. Most of the times, middle class minded people have some assets. Now, furniture is not an asset. Jewelry, unless it's expensive, jewelry and has value is not an asset. An automobile is not an asset, because as soon as you take that car off the lot, it loses value. Okay? But they have some money in savings. They maybe have some long-term investments. But they have something that they have of worth. They have net worth. May not be large net worth, but they have some net worth. And so they're waiting for that next pay period, but they have something to show for it. And so that's why that they are in that blue circle. It's a little bit wider. So they don't have to rush for that next pay period, but they're waiting for that next pay period because they got to pay those bills. They have to pay that debt. They have to start to accumulate those assets. They have to start building their net worth. Well, the wealth-minded person is totally outside of the circle. They're in that square. That's because when the wealth-minded person gets paid, it's just another day. They may pay some of their bills. They may actually buy some stuff. But they're not waiting for that next pay period because their portfolio is ordered. They have a system in place. They have a plan in place. They are able to live their life in peace. Remember in the beginning I told you about my goal in life is to be at peace? They live a life in peace. They're not in any circle. They're not rushing around. In fact, what they're doing is they're watching you rush around because you're working for them. They are leveraging off of you. They have debt, but their debt is to buy assets. So they leverage off of other people's monies, off of other people's assets in order to gain assets for themselves. The gentleman that was talking that night was Robert Kiyosaki, and I was blown away by his conversation that night. The next day I went out and I bought his first book, and I was getting ready to go away on a business trip, and I read the book like in a day. And so then when I was on my way back home from the business trip, I went in one of the stores in the airport and I bought book 2 and I read it in another couple of days. And then I bought the third book and I was literally transformed because I thought that I was doing pretty well up until that point in time. And then I realized I'm not doing so hot here. I was in that middle class mindset and I needed to get into that wealth mindset. And what I want to say to you today is I need for you to be transformed into that wealth mindset. I need you to transform yourself from that poor mindset or that middle class mindset into that wealth mindset. Now, I want to remind you, I'm not saying poor people or middle class people, because there are people who have a whole lot of money but are in that poor mindset. Case in point, most people when they win the lottery lose it within 5 years. Why? Because they don't change their mindset. They get all this money and they spend it. They don't do anything different than they were doing before. And so if you don't change the way you act, then you go back to being the exact same way that you were. So what I'm saying to you is you have to change the way that you think. Now, here's what I love about God. So when I saw that trash on the ground, that's what first prompted me to say something to you about this. But then, Mardi Gras ends with Fat Tuesday, and the day after Fat Tuesday is Ash Wednesday. And I do always fast for Lent, and I meditate and I pray during the Lenten season. And so this year I have started a devotional called Rethink Your Life. And for yesterday it was Isaiah 55, and I want you to read Isaiah 55 because it talks about changing your mindset about what you do in your life. And it placed on me that I needed to talk to you about this because many of you say that you're struggling with the 10% for the savings and the 50% for the debt and reducing your spending. And it's because you haven't changed your mindset. Now, here's one of the things I was thinking the other day, because one of my dear friends, and I won't say her name, she always says, I can always tell when it's Lent because Sheila loses all this weight. And it's true. Every year at Lent, when I fast, I always have this large drop in my weight. I'm not trying to do that, but because I'm fasting, I do. And then I'm always trying to figure out, okay, then I gain it back, and I'm thinking, well, why is it that I can't continue to do that when I'm not fasting? And I realized it was because when I'm fasting, I'm so focused on God, and I'm so focused on what it is that I'm doing, and I'm so faithful to that I don't even think about eating. Like this is like day 3 of the fast, and I haven't really thought about my cravings for chocolate and my cravings for champagne. And I usually don't during my fast. And I realize it's because I'm not focused on that. I'm not focused on the food. I'm not focused on the stuff. I'm focused on God. So if you change your focus, remember I've said, stay faithful, stay focused, and stay committed. If you're focused on something else, if you're focused on that long-term goal, you become faithful to it and you become committed to it. So I need you to really understand that unless you change your mindset, you're not going to change the way that you behave financially. I really, really, really hope that this is transformative for you. I hope that you will take some time to meditate within yourself on what is really, really important in your life, and that you change your mindset so that you can be more successful on your journey to debt freedom. Have a fabulous weekend, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.